This is going to be a video on task lists. So task lists are an important part of any execution framework because they're a great way for offloading all the things you have to do in your daily life into an external system so you don't have to keep thinking about them. So if you have a normal task list, if you don't have this value column, you just have a normal task list, it's just a list of tasks. There are a couple of problems that you're going to end up having. So likely the biggest one is that you're just going to miss out on the most important stuff. You just go in order. Like if I start it and this is at the top of my list, if this thing is more important, then I'll just sort of be missing out. If I assign values to things, then it's a bit easier to do stuff in a less arbitrary sequence. But you still have the issue that if this takes 5 hours and this takes me, say, 5 minutes, then it might make more sense to do this thing first before this, even though this has a higher overall value. Now, normal task lists can't do that, but if you use value time task lists, you can do that. And basically what value time task lists do is you got a value, you have a time, and it just derives priority from the value divided by the time. So it just maximizes the benefit of like the amount of value you're getting for the time that you put in. So it's pretty simple, Now, for those of you that use SuperMemo, you might recognize this. It's basically just the same as it is in SuperMemo. And most of the system I use is just copied from SuperMemo itself. The reason I call them value time task lists, though, is because prioritized task lists, or just calling them task lists, is a bit vague. And it's easy to get those confused with other ones. So yeah. Now, at the most basic level, all you have to do is just click new, add a task, just give it a value and a time, and you're pretty much done. And yeah, that's about it. There are a couple of features that I've also added in. Some of them are just copied from SuperMemo, and others are stuff that I came up with myself. And I'll just be going through those shortly. So if you're already convinced you just want to go ahead and try it, I have a link to my template in the description below. But if you want to see how some of the other fancier features work, then stay on. And if you're interested in like what the benefits and disadvantages I've had with actually using this are, then stick around until the end or just skip to it. It's up to you. So the first feature that I have added, this isn't in SuperMemo, is stages. And the reason I created this is that normal value time task lists tend to be very all or nothing. You just either finish the entire thing or you just have no recourse for doing anything, which is kind of annoying. So as an example, if I have a task like this and it takes 70 minutes, it might be too daunting to do everything at once, so I just never get around to doing it. But with stages, I can break it up. And basically what stages involves is I'll write out all the steps for doing the thing, and I'll put a counter here for 0 out of 4 for how many of the steps I've finished. And now I don't have to do all the stuff at once. I can just do, say, one part of it and then do get to 1 out of 4, and I can just move on. And what this means is that if I have 30 minutes to work on my task list, then I can just do a little bit of work, move on, and then not have to worry about it. And just over time, keep doing a little bit more incrementally. So I think these are sort of a must-have because otherwise it's just really hard to get tasks done when they're just all or nothing. So I find these extremely helpful. The other features here are sort of neat, but I think that these two are the core and we'll get like 80% of the value. Yeah, but next we've got deadline view. So deadline view deadline types are pretty simple. So the first one we've got is post. And what this does is it just makes the value or the priority of the task 0 until it gets past a certain day. So this is useful for tasks that you need to put off. So I have a couple of tasks here that I can't do till I'm back in Japan. So I've just put them as post and I've just set a relevant day. The next task list type we've got is decline. And what this does is it's like post in that we can put a relevant day on which we care about the task, and then we have a due day. And what due day here means is not the days due by, but like I have to wish my friend happy birthday, and let's say that my friend's birthday is on the 15th. So as time goes on, the value of wishing them happy birthday goes down. So what I might do is if the day that I'm supposed to wish them on is the 15th, and tomorrow is the day by which I'd want to finish wishing them on, or otherwise it just doesn't make sense to wish them, then what happens is it'll just decrease the priority continuously from a maximum of 5 and until it just becomes 0. So today the value is very low since it's just been so long since I wished them, and it would be kind of weird to do it now. So that's pretty useful for that kind of task. And lastly, we've got not standard is no not standard. We've got deadline, and basically what deadline does is let's say that I've got finish homework, and I often have to do that, and I don't really like finishing homework very much. And let's say I've got give it a value of 100, and I give it time 20. So it's kind of important. It's pretty high up, but let's say that it's due on the 31st. And why the hell would I do homework when it's not due tomorrow? So if you're like that too, and you like to procrastinate and put off school stuff as much as possible, deadline is for you. And what it does is it'll just decrease the priority until it gets to the deadline. And over time, it'll slowly increase until that day. And it's very useful for putting your stuff off and being able to do other more important things until it's just in your face and it really matters. You might be wondering what standard does. Standard is just normal value by time. It doesn't do anything special. So you never need to use that because like having no deadline type is just the same as standard. But yeah, that's that for deadline type. Next, we've got time spent. Now this is, you don't have to use this, but basically what it does is if I put in a time, like let's say that this investigate tables and chairs is supposed to take me 30 minutes. Let's say that I get through a few stages and I'm on 3 out of 7. The priority doesn't really increase, which is a little bit wrong because I've spent a fair bit of time on it and it's closer to being finished. So with time spent, I can put in how much time that I spent actually doing the thing and how much closer I am to finishing it. And what this will do is it'll change the time left. So when you do value by time, the priority will increase. So what this does is the closer you are to finishing something, the higher value it gets. So it's also kind of useful for just making sure you're not constantly starting new things and you just finish stuff as quickly as possible. But it is pretty new. I only like added it in the last week, so maybe it's not so useful. Well, it hasn't been very useful for me till now, but hopefully in the future it'll become more useful. And you're welcome to try it and see how it goes for you. Next, we've got tags. So all that tags do is that they look for words in description and they just replace it with a thing. So as an example, it looks for if I've typed investigate in the description and it just says investigate here. And for example, if I have buy, then if I type in buy earplugs, then it'll just replace it with the tag with buy here. And the reason that tags are useful is if I have, say, a bit of time I'm spending just buying stuff, I can lump together all my buy tasks and just do them all at once. So this is useful especially for communication tasks. So if I want to finish emails, then I could just look for just the ones that have email tag and then not get mixed up with the other ones for, say, Discord, which I wouldn't want to do at that time. So if you want to just add your own tags, I wouldn't recommend messing with the formula because it's really hellish. I would just rewrite. So all you have to do is just here put in the thing that you're searching for, and then here put the thing that you wanted to say. And that's it. That's it. So pretty simple. So the last feature we've got is feelings. And what this does is I just put how I feel about a task. So I use a range of -2 to +2. You can use whatever you want. It's pretty arbitrary. And the reason I have this is that a lot of times I don't want to do tasks. I don't want to do my task list, but every day I should be making progress somewhere. I shouldn't do nothing. So what this does is I just put how much I like doing the thing. And if I only have like 20 minutes and I'm kind of down, I don't want to do anything, then I can just look for the tasks that have high feeling ratings. And then I can feel a bit more motivated to just get the thing done. So that's also kind of useful. And yeah, this is about it for all the features that I use in my implementation. And if you have any questions or comments or want help with it, just let me know in the comments below. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my actual experience with the task list, because this paints, I think, a very shiny picture of everything being perfect. But it's not. It's not. In terms of benefits, yeah, it's pretty useful. I can add 1,000 tasks, not and go insane. It just makes it very easy to manage having lots of stuff to do and then not having to worry about not finishing things. So like if I have 1,000 tasks and I can only finish like some of the top 10, then that just means that the rest weren't important and I can just sort of ignore them and just move on with my life. In that sense, they're pretty good. I think that this is the best task list system for me. I don't think I would trade it for anything else. But the disadvantages are also kind of a pain, though I'm not sure they're very general. They basically apply very strongly to me. I'm not sure about how it would be for other people. Basically, I just don't like doing tasks. That's it. I just don't like sitting down actually finishing tasks. I would rather just spend my time watching anime or just using SuperMemo and other things. So it's kind of hard to get myself to actually just do things. At the very least, it's useful for organizing things, but that trouble with actually do things is very big, much bigger than you would think. Like I've basically been using this Notion task list system for months, and I've had a lot of trouble getting like anything done because I just hate doing tasks so much. And that sort of forced me to do like a couple workarounds. So one of the things I've been experimenting with recently, which has made a pretty big difference, is just doing tasks first thing in the morning. Because when I do in first thing in the morning is when I have the most like self-control and I can just sit down and get things done, even if I don't like them. And that's been sort of helpful. Usually I have my task lists to be done in the evening, and when they're in the evening, I just don't get around to doing anything, and I just procrastinate and put them off and say I'll do them later. So that's sort of helped, but it's been a pretty big issue, I would say. And a lot of these tasks have been here for quite a while. So, but I think this is like roughly a me issue, not the task list system issue, because I just have such a low conscientiousness score that I have a lot of trouble just sitting down, just getting things done. But for other people, I think that it would probably be fine. You can get some pretty good use out of it. Yeah. I'm just hoping, though, as time goes on, I get better at using this system and I'm able to improve it and make it something where I can put a task and be deterministically sure that by the deadline I put in, that I'll just get the thing done and I don't have to worry. Because as it is now, I can sort of have this part of my mind that says, okay, I have this stuff on the task list. I don't have to worry about it too much now, but I can't get rid of that completely because I don't know if I'll actually do the things. So yeah, that's just a problem. But yeah, that's about it from me about task lists. I'm going to hopefully make another video on how my system is going in a few months and if I've gotten better at actually doing tasks. So stay tuned for that. Again, feel free to add any questions or comments in the description below, and I'm going to have a link to this template in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching.